Greetings and salutations, and welcome to A Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast that promises a season without cameos from previous seasons. Except for Darth Flamingus. We cannot leave him out.
Well, the pink is strong with that one.
That's right. I am Jason the Angry Ginger, sitting inside Wookie Poo Studios. I, of course, am not alone. Please allow me to introduce your favorite wretched scum, scoundrels, and smugglers. First up, my neighbor from Corellia, neighbor Cole.
Hi, everyone. Thanks
we gotta look that up. If you're my neighbor from Corellia, then what planet am I on?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Or am I on Corellia?
Could be one of the moons. Is there a moon on Corellia?
There's gonna be a full moon in this room in a minute.
Mike Laybourne, Clockwork Owl, you guys can go ahead and correct us whenever you're ready.
Yeah, really. They've already got the hologram map up. Well, you should know that...
This system over here is canon. This one is not. No, thanks for having me down here. I was thinking maybe we should get a different greeting. Is there some sort of greeting we could think of from the Star Wars universe instead of greetings and salutations? Like,
I think greetings and salutations is the first time I've actually said it on this show. Good catch. Yeah.
Maybe I just don't. Maybe I just
Matt,
tune you out.
You edit all the time. Have I said it before?
I don't think you've said it before on this show, but I was going to tell you without exposing myself. But the only thing I can think of is like Kenobi going, "Hello there." You know, they'd love to do that one.
There we go.
No, please expose yourself. It's been so long for me. Be good. That was Matt, our third micer, coming in hot from the Skype lines.
The only Jedi that opens his robes when we're not asked.
Get a medical droid to give me a, what do you call that, a physical?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, you want that prison droid.
Come in with one of those big ass
really
needles.
knows what it's doing.
Just replace it with a dildo.
What are we doing here?
Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Matt, welcome to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm not going to do an impression today because there weren't really a lot of options. About the only one I thought of doing was those police droids, because one of them at one point goes "Ichuta," but that's about all I got. So I just thought, we'll just come in with the normal voice today.
You could try your best, Omega.
I was just going to say, you need to Omega.
Omega.
How'd you say her name? Omega. Yeah.
I struggle a little bit with the Kiwi accent. When my younger son does it a lot, like he'll walk around and be like, "Rekka, Hunter." So, he does that a lot, but it just sounds so forced when I do it. So.
Man, you guys know how to party over there, don't you?
We do. And so that's what we do. We just sit around and do voices back and forth to each other.
I'm telling you guys, take it down a notch. All right.
If you want to find everything about our show, by the way, go to FromACertainPointAskew.com, and we're on Twitter at FACPAPod. And you can also email us, which a number of people did this week. Thank you, at FACPAPod@gmail.com.
And it must be said for you new listeners of this podcast that this is the podcast, the Star Wars podcast, that's 40% correct. So we're here to learn just like you guys are. So we're on the fence with things, and then we kind of discover between the three of us, one of us knows something. But this is really more for fun. We got back into this. We kept talking about Star Wars and different things throughout the years when the series was coming back on the 7 Days a Geek podcast, and this was kind of born from that. So if you're here looking for 100% Star Wars geekdom, you've hit the wrong podcast, but I still ask you to stay around. Take the 3-episode challenge, and I think you'll have a good time with us.
Yeah, I think this was probably born from the Star Wars Hour of Podtoberfest, which is your annual thing every October. So that's where it started. That
was the impetus of this show. We offer more perspective and comedy and our opinion more than anything, but once in a while we throw a dart at the wall and hit something correct.
Some would say it's from a certain point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Careful with that.
And the other thing we do is we try to bribe you to interact with us by giving away prizes. So
that's right.
On that note, we are offering a mall hilt that Darth Flamingus was kind enough to put up for availability for people who want to reach out. So the way you can get entries into this contest over the course of the Bad Batch season is you can either send us an email for the mall bag, or you can do a quote tweet of one of our show posts on Twitter, and you'll get an entry for that. And then also if you do a review of the show, which we just got another one from the Cheeto Bandito this last week. Oh. So you get two entries for that. And so what we'll do is once the Bad Batch wraps up, we'll do kind of a countdown, like third place, second place, first place. Third and second will get some sort of podcast merch because we have a store, and then first place will get the hilt. So please, we love the interaction with the show. It's a lot of fun. Really like all the emails we've been getting, so please keep that up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cheeto Bandito. Love the show. The three hosts are just the right mix of Star Wars knowledge to make it enjoyable for a fan like me, but not so incredibly deep into the expanded universe that I can't follow. I appreciate the linear breakdown of the series that they cover, as some of these... Sorry, I had to go bigger here. as some of these I haven't seen and probably won't watch. So it's nice to hear the story and insights. Thanks, guys. Cheeto. Cheeto, you rock.
Thanks, Cheeto.
You're the best bandito we know.
Wow, we actually have a good handful of reviews on this show. Thank you, everybody. I'll read more next week.
We'll pick one and read one every week, like
There we
Mr.
go.
Rogers.
Yeah.
I did change my shoes today before we started. Let's jump into the news. There's just a couple items that we threw on here. One is John Boyega going to come back as Finn? So last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess, we did our last episode. We talked about how Daisy Ridley was possibly coming back, and all the silly Rey rumors that were thrown around. So now there's a People magazine article that was kind of recirculating an interview he did last year, where he talks about what does he say? I wrote the quote down. He says asking about if he's coming back. He says, whichever way, I'm open to the conversation as long as it's Kathleen, JJ, and maybe someone else and the team. It's a no-brainer, which made me think, who's the other person he's talking about? One, and is this legit? Because he has since posted things saying like he's kind of done with the character.
Right. Yeah, it seems like a Daniel Craig thing where, like, after all of the noise, he was just kind of annoyed with everything. And, I mean, he definitely... I mean, we've seen, like, when they launched the first trailer and even the excitement with the second movie, I think there was some bad taste with the third because his character didn't really go where he was maybe led to believe he was going to go. Like, running around yelling Ray for a whole movie probably wasn't his cup of tea. I mean... Out of the, Oscar Isaacs, I mean, he gets a meaty role, so he doesn't have to come across and be like, well, I'm an actor. But Boyega seems to be, like, fighting that, like, hey, pay attention to me. Like, I've got some skills.
Yeah, I think he's talked about it. He was certainly put off by the fact that what was set up in the first, in Force Awakens for his character was a lot larger role, I think, than he ended up getting. He ended up just kind of being a side character. So I think he was upset with the arc of the character and thought there was more there. So I think he's probably, I mean, in judging by what he said in his quote, probably a little more upset with Rian Johnson and the way he veered his character, because I think then JJ didn't have a lot to do with him, in the end.
Correct.
So I think he wants, I mean, aside from kind of, winking about the fact that he's got some sort of force sensitivity. So, and that was never really explored. So there's a lot you could still do with his character. And especially if Rey comes back, if Daisy really comes back, I could totally see Finn coming back.
Well, two things. Number one, he looks amazing with that hard part. I like that on him. That's a good look on him.
Okay.
The hard part.
That Bobby Brown?
Mm-hmm. And number two.
Yeah. It's my prerogative.
And number two, what's wrong with being like, a secondary or second tier character? Like, he wasn't really big before Star Wars, right? Like, he didn't have a whole lot of fame in acting. He wasn't like a big name. He wasn't. It's like, not like you're bringing in Bruce Willis.
Attack the Block
Ford.
was what he was known for. It was a small like monster movie in England, like took place like in the projects of London. It's really fucking good.
Okay, so
Joe Cornish.
So like number two, like coming in, like you don't have such a big ego, guy. Like come in and maybe you're a part of Star Wars, which is an amazing thing in and of itself. Like you don't have to be the lead. You don't have to be. I don't need my share of the pie. You know what? You're part of a fucking great film franchise that's epic and awesome, and I don't know, like you're asking for more than you should deserve. I don't know. It seems like he's got a bit of an ego on him for not really coming. I mean, Harrison Ford can come in with some clout and be like, "Here, this is what I want." Right? He's earned his dues. He's paid his dues. This guy's kind of, you're kind of on the B team. So why don't you just be quiet a little bit?
The Jizz Whalers are hiring.
I think if you were, I don't know, like Han Solo in the first movie, and then all of a sudden your character was kind of relegated to second team in Empire Strikes Back, you'd be like, well, what the fuck? So I get why he's not happy about the arc, because I think it was set up to be a major character. It was really the big three. It was him, Kylo, and oh my God, Rey.
Well, even in the first trailer that they put out, they really made it look like he was the Jedi. He's the first face you see in the trailer that pops up in the desert. Everything is sort of catered to him.
You're right. That's
He's the
point.
one that they show. The lightsaber pops up at the end of the credits, so it was really geared toward it. It was a JJ swindle. Ha! Fooled you.
All right, I take it back, John. I'm sorry. If you're listening, I didn't mean that.
Now you said this is from a year
mad.
a year ago though, right? So like he's not turning table now. This was something they pulled a year ago. They said if it's involved JJ and Kathleen Kennedy.
Correct, which is odd because the People magazine article was like this last week. So I'm not sure why they're digging that deep into this old interview. And like I said, I think maybe even on Instagram or something, he posted something about kind of moving on from the character. But all that being said, I think if they came back and said, hey, we're going to do a show or we're going to do a movie and it's going to focus a lot on you and Rey, I think he'd probably be on board. And the other thing too is to say in that interview, he's like gushing over the fact that he got to be in Star Wars and how much he loves the franchise.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think he appreciates being in it. I think he's just like, well, fuck, you were setting me up to be like a main character, which would be pretty sweet. And then you're like, yeah, go to Canto Bight. Like, oh.
That's a fair point.
You know, Disney's lost their way when they give Benicio del Toro his own show. If they go, well, let's pull him back out and see what he's doing for 8 episodes.
He can't play the guitar again.
No.
Oh, boy. There's going to be a jam session, a Star Wars jam session. You are going to be so upset about.
I'm going to quit the show. If that happens.
The other news item was, and we don't normally get into the comics, but I thought this was interesting, and this is a warning for any of you who are into the comics and have not read the War of the Bounty Hunters comic that just came out, I think just like last Wednesday or something.
Last week.
Because this is comes at the very end of the comic, and that is that, and these are allegedly canon, these comics.
Yes, they are.
And so it's set between the Empire and Jedi, and it kind of gets into how, like, basically Boba didn't really go directly to Jabba when he got Han and the Carbonite. He actually got sidetracked, and at one point Han got stolen by none other than Kira.
Oh, yeah, I saw that she showed up, but I didn't know that was the story.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Kira apparently steals him, and there's a couple frames of the comic, and she says, Han always wanted to save me, now he'll get the chance. So I think the implication being that, like, she's going to use him as some sort of prize to help herself and Crimson Dawn, I would guess. You know, it's obviously well later.
Right.
That's kind of what I think they're insinuating.
That's awesome, because that's years after the Solo movie. So that means she's still jumping around. And like as we get into the Bad Batch, I think we're going to get into some more characters that potentially might be bouncing around there too.
Yeah, it just made me think, could we make Solo 2 or a series follow-up in some way? I mean, she came out just the other day and said how she was so excited to see her character, you know, being used. And it's like, did you hear that, Disney? Because, I mean, she's going to be in that Marvel show.
Right, the Secret Invasion. Yeah, Disney's keeping her around. You're right. It'd be like, you know, the studio next door is also shooting this Star Wars project right now. If you're going to see her in anything, it's probably going to be Lando, right?
That would be the most obvious one, yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're going to pull some elements from there. So I don't know if we're going to see a Solo 2, but I think you're going to see all those threads, and I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen Alden Ehrenreich come back as well.
I think if they did a Crimson Dawn series or something like that, I'd be interested in that. I just that whole setup they left at the end of Solo left me wanting more for sure.
And that movie gets talked about on Twitter with like the most love than maybe other than Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people found it once it hit Netflix, and then once it hit Disney Plus, there were a lot of people talking about it again. And it was the one. It seemed to be like the bad stepchild of the Star Wars universe. But I don't know anybody that dislikes that movie.
Chris from the 2 on 3 pod.
To name one.
No, because he and I always get in an argument about it. But yeah, it's some people. A lot of the counter argument to Solo was like, why they need to make this? Why they even make this? This is just like extra. They didn't need to do it.
It's fan service.
Which I get real mad about that whole concept in general, because it's like they wanted the fans to like it. Yeah, that sucks. That's stupid.
Well, that's the thing, man.
I know.
I agree with you, Matt, because who didn't want to know what the Kessel Run was? It's the ship that did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. You know, I mean, like, who didn't be like...
What ship was that?
The Millennium Falcon.
That was okay.
So,
Double check.
like, you're sitting there and you're like, man, I wonder what that's about. And then they just go past it. You're like, okay, this ship's badass. It's
Well, you've heard the story, so we're not going to film it. You know how many people would be like...
She's got it where it counts, kid. Well, let's see something. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see some stuff the Millennium Falcon can do, and then it's all... Like,
I thought it was fucking all well done. I love that fucking movie.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's if nothing else, and I think you get this big backlash from people who like the movie, going, "Why is everybody shitting on this?" And that's why I think you get a lot of chatter about it.
We should start a hashtag, Make Solo 2 happen.
I think it'll really catch on.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like somebody has the Twitter feed already.
Oh, shit.
Dang it.
We're always one step behind.
You know what? We're going to go one step further. Make Solo 3 happen. There you go.
There we go. Yes. Ha.
Just really get out ahead of it.
Yeah. Why don't you grab that website right now?
I'll get on that after the show. All right. You want to get into Bad Batch?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, more side missions. Lots of side missions. And I mean, we're getting more of a taste of the tie into the rebellion, which is nice. So I appreciate that they're progressing more in that area. And some of the characters we're seeing and bumping into, it certainly feels like more and more like Clone Wars Season 8, you know, like we've joked about before.
Yeah.
I'm just like the biggest gripe I have, and I was going to mention it when we talk about kind of what's coming next, is can we get back to the Empire a little bit here? I appreciate what they're telling us and showing us. I really want to see Crosshair. I want to know what they're up to. So that's my big gripe.
I think it's like big picture. We need to see what the Bad Batch is up to and how they're surviving. 'Cause we're getting a lot of that, right? Like, yeah, you're right. Like it's like mission of the week, but it makes sense, right? Kind of out on their own. They're trying to figure out how to survive. So I like that. Like all of a sudden now they have like a little headquarters in the bar. Is what's her face from Cheers? You know, she turned into a lizard and now she's running the place.
Sid.
You know, she's kind of got her. She's the money person for them. I got a job. Well, you're gonna take it. You know, I like where they're at, and I mean, it's a little convenient that every time they step onto a planet, it just happens to involve a part of the Star Wars story, like just where the thing, like, you know, the rancor is like, oh, it's a little baby and it's adorable, and then we find out, oh, it's the one that we're familiar with.
But it's not.
No,
we'll get into that when we get to that
Okay.
episode. It's actually not that rancor.
I was wondering.
Oh, man,
I was wondering
getting ready to talk about that
because the ownership was under the wrong person, right?
Well, I think it was for Jabba,
Yeah.
but I think Jabba was a connoisseur of the rancor population, so he
Okay.
really
He
had a real
fetish.
penchant for that.
Old Moochie. He's the so when the hologram comes up and it's Bib Fortuna talking, you can't see really who it is,
Right.
But in the subtitles it said speaking Huttonese, so I'm like, ooh, that's Bib Fortuna because I can kind of see
That's
who
right.
it was.
You're a crafty little fucker with them subtitles.
And he's talking to Sid or whatever, and they're talking about the mission or whatever. And then I'm like, so I started thinking to myself, I'm like, well, it's gonna be a little baby Hutt. It's gonna be a little baby Hutt that they're going to save. And then like I was trying to like
They've already done that with Slobber or
Zero.
no.
Zero
What was
Hutt, right?
what was Jabba's baby's name?
I can't remember the name.
It was the movie, the Clone
The
Wars
movie,
movie was all
yeah.
about. We're gonna go with Slobber the Hutt.
Sounds good. It's probably not far off.
Thanks for derailing.
It was
me.
like Booger or Slimer or Pipsqueaker. It was some
the
fucking
one that
stupid
was
name.
sick. He had sick. He had the tummy ache.
Yeah,
He was turning green. Poisoned.
Slimer.
Anyways, they're trying. So they trade off to get intel on who's following, which seems like Sid gets a really like a good one on him in the negotiations. He's like, "Yeah, that's Fennec Shand. I don't know who hired her. That's that's all he really gives them."
Well, she does pay them too, right? Doesn't she give them money?
Yeah,
as well?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they
She
get
gives
some-
them like
it's
some like
30%. Yeah. What
Yeah.
these guys took the fucking negotiation class from fucking Din Djarin.
Mando. Yeah.
Yeah, from Mando. Jesus.
Okay. Here's my offer. Only offer. Okay.
I like at one point was it Sid's desk when they're all sitting there chatting. She's got a nice fucking piece of crepe meat chilling on her
Did
desk.
she?
Yeah.
God, you
it was-
notice
it
that
was a
crepe meat
steak,
every
but
time.
Right away, I was like, "Oh, look at they're keeping it in play." I think it might have been the sixth episode, but this one is entitled Rampage, and yeah, really, it's like their mission is they have to go retrieve this thing for Sid, who's been the middleman to get someone to do it. Then they will get paid, and with that, she'll also find out who Fennec Shand is.
Right, and they're on Ord Mantell, which was actually referenced in Empire Strikes Back. So there's the scene where Han is leaving the base on Hoth, and Leia's like, "I thought you were going to stay," and he's like, "Yeah, bounty hunter on Ord Mantell."
Ooh,
Ran into them, and that changed my mind. So it dips back into that, which I thought was cool.
Okay.
I really like this planet. I love the like seedy nature of it, and
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool setup. But yeah, they go in there and talk to her and get their kind of their marching orders. But also there was a scene there where I think it was before they landed, where Wrecker's doing squats with Gonki.
Yes. Yes. I wanted to bring that up.
Oh God! It
Like
just
they don't even
kills me.
say anything. He's just in the background, lifting. What's the droid's name?
Gronk.
I think it's Gonki.
It's
a
okay,
Gonk
Gonki.
droid. and I
Well,
think
it's a Gronk droid, but I think okay,
Yeah,
You think Dave was just fucking
yeah.
that's so
wearing his
excited.
pink robe?
We're gonna have to do a Gonk giveaway at some point. But yeah, I just thought it was a cool place that they went to. I mean, obviously Omega kind of figures out who Sid is because they're just dumb. They're like, I don't know who Sid is, and they're like, oh, okay, well, shit, I don't know how we're gonna find Sid now. She's like,
Yeah,
"You're
but
Sid."
she did another one of those like force things where she just walks up and says, "Hey, you're Sid, aren't you?"
Yeah, is it force or is she just smart?
I feel you're right. I mean, she probably is smart, but she also seems to be a little too smart for 10 years old or however old she is. She tends to just like, even when she was in the prison cell with Crosshairs, a couple episodes ago, she's like, I know what you're going to do. Don't do it. Like, she just knows things, which is, I think, where we've alluded to, that's their tease. It's sort of like, and we're going to get to it, every time Wrecker bangs his fucking head, we know they're alluding to the fact that, stuff's going to hit the
She's
fan.
just got, what, Jedi intuition almost?
Yeah.
It could be, yeah.
At least I think so.
That's what I think her little power is.
Yeah.
So you, as you mentioned, the mission is to rescue Moochie, who they don't know who that is. She didn't tell them. And Moochie's being held by Zygerian slavers, which we saw in Clone Wars. They were on that planet Kadavo, and they had to go there, and they ended up freeing all those slaves. But this is this is on the actual same planet, I believe, that they're on with Sid, because she said the other side of the planet, I think.
Oh, okay.
And so they're not on the place they want. And I think they even say something about getting back to Kadavo and like kind of setting up their slave trade again. They're so mad they don't have their slave trade.
It's fucking Zygerians.
It's a good plan. Just got to make it happen.
Exactly. And you mentioned, Wrecker's got those headaches going again.
Yeah, in the midst of everything.
Yeah. Once they get there, they get captured.
Like almost immediately.
Yeah, like right away. And luckily, Omega, sneaks in and releases the baby Rancor, which turns out to be Moochie, and, all hell breaks loose, and they get that, battle going. So I thought that was a pretty fun little scene. I like when they go, I can't remember what they said. She's trying to do something. She's like, no, I'm not trying to get away. I'm unlocking.
Yes, she already had it. That was a pretty cool shot. I like that. I like how they did that.
Yeah.
Secure the cages. The raptor cages are loose.
Yeah.
So, another little fun fact from the subtitles, the flying thing that goes flying around and hitting things with its tail and fighting Moochie at one point.
The gliding dragon squirrel?
That's called a Brezek. Brezak.
Okay.
So I got that from the subtitles, too.
Yeah, I think they had those in Clone Wars, too. Did they not? Didn't we see those?
Was that, no, that wasn't what Obi-Wan was.
No, I was going to say, that's what I first thought of.
I think it was the on Kadavo. I think it was these cat-like people. I think they had some in that episode, if I remember correctly. And so then they end up, they get away essentially. Then, and I guess Wrecker has to fight Moochie into submission.
It's more of like a submission wrestling match.
The toxic masculinity square off. That's what that was. To see who the last one standing.
Wrecker's all excited too. You're gonna have to. I got this. Just runs right at it. And I'm like, this thing is gonna whoop his ass, but he's so damn strong. Yeah, he's dumb as a box of rocks, but he'll fight anything.
He's like, tap out, Moochie. Come on, tap out.
Yeah. I do have to say, every episode seems to be built around whatever they've given Omega for the because this is the one where they give her the intercom wristwatch thing, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they're captured, and she's like, "Hey." And she's talking to him, right?
Yep.
So she's sneaking around. So everything's built around what can we do for her to make her part of the team more?
And she also picks up at the end of this episode, I think it was, or the beginning of the next episode, the coolest fucking weapon in the world.
Right.
That crossbow that's got an unlimited supply of blaster lasers.
She gets it in this episode.
I think so, too, at the end. Right? She picks it up off the ground?
Yeah, because that's what they're using, and one of them knocks a bunch of them away and the weapon drops, so she picks it up they're all on the go. Yeah. And she's like, ooh, I can use this.
Right.
Kind of sets the scene. And so then you open up episode 6, which is called Decommissioned, where she's learning to use
her noodle arms just can't pull it back.
She's not strong enough.
Right.
Oh, before you get to that, so I mentioned the whole Rancor thing. So Patissa, who is a male, is the Rancor in Return of the Jedi.
Okay. So
this
you
is
looked up the name.
She's a female. I looked it up. Yeah.
Oh, they were mating these things. Was what Jabba's getting them. He's like, oh, these sell real good over on another planet.
Exactly. It was given to. I looked at Patissa. It was given to Jabba by Bib for his birthday.
Okay.
Here you go.
What do you get the Hutt that's got everything?
Exactly. A rack in his brain.
Patissa.
Yeah.
No, he's like, another Twi'lek? No.
He's just going to push it down into the Rancor pit again. There's no point.
There must be other pits because those two coexisted, I think. So, yeah. But yeah, everybody, and my assumption too was that's the Rancor. It's got to be.
Right.
But it was not. It was a different Rancor.
Well, it's like Filoni's trying to test the audience. Let's see if these geeks know what's up. I'm going to throw a little fucking bone out there. Call this Rancor named Moochie. And then
And
it's
see if they look up the name.
see if anyone just already knew it. You're not going to trick me, Dave. I know that's not the Rancor. He made it seem like
How
that was the
dare
Rancor.
you try to slide that past me, Dave?
So yeah, Dave, huge listener of the show, Dave Filoni.
Right. Yeah.
We figured it out. You didn't get that one past us.
I feel like he's gonna go places.
I think so.
Yeah.
If he keeps after it, just keep your nose to the grindstone. But why don't they just give her a blaster? I mean, I know it's cool and all that the bow looks nice and all that kind of stuff, but like, let's just make it easy. She's already shown she can use a damn blaster.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I guess it's just her own little identifying piece. Like that's gonna be her thing.
Well, this is George Lucas whispering in Filoni's ear. You need to sell toys.
Oh, good point.
Nerf has got the fucking patent on it.
Exactly.
Absolutely Nerf.
Not the herder kind either.
The Nerf herder.
gun.
Yeah, I got you. Tie back to last week. Good job.
So Sid's got a new job for them to go to Corellia, Cole's
I've
planet.
never heard that name before.
My home planet. Yep, they're stomping in my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Spilled some of the same blood and the same mud. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
And they're supposed to steal an old tactical droid. It's like one of those separatist leader droids. Because they're thinking that that there's information inside those on how to defeat essentially clones, which now they're going to be fighting against. So that's why they want to go after it.
You think they trained them like they'd know how to beat them?
What do you mean?
Well, I guess some of the building of the not the Republic, but what was the Republic, the Separatists, but they become the
Empire?
No.
They were rebellion?
Well, I guess yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Like, I mean, they fucking know they fought along these damn things, but they're like, oh, we need a robot head.
Well, they say the tech droid gets smarter every battle it goes. Like it gets so.
Yeah.
And the way I imagine.
But they got Echo. That's what Echo was used for. That's how we found Echo.
Well, the way I imagine it is they're all kind of interlinked. Like they're all networks. So like
got a hive mind.
Yeah, hive mind. Like one of them learns, and then it uploads it to the server, and then they all learn.
Yeah.
So then, who would have known that these suckers were going to be they're a dime a dozen in the Clone Wars. I would have just cut their heads off and started sticking them in a bag. I'm going to sell these afterwards. Jabba's got the cornered market on Rancor. We're going to have the tech droid heads.
Did you think when they said Corellia, was a part of you like, they're not going to do it, are they? Are they going to show him?
I thought exactly that. I'm like, how are they going to show Kid Han running around with Kira?
Yeah,
you know, like
I
even
thought
in the background, are we going to see him sneaking through an alley, or do we see like how they're turned into, maybe their house gets blown up and now they're orphans? Like, who knows? Like, I'm like, where are we at with the timeline here? But yeah, they kind of just went right over that.
You'll be shocked to find out that I didn't put it together. I just look at the shiny lights. That's all I do.
Yeah, I was doing the math too. I was like, I think he would have been like 10 or something, maybe 12 at the most, something like that. So it's several years before Solo. It's like maybe 5 or 6.
Like Bratty Solo, like we've had Bratty Boba.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah.
Teen angst Solo.
Yeah.
Angsty. So they go to the decommission center and look for the droid, but then the head is stolen by
Rafa.
I know.
And Trace.
Yeah.
They show up.
Where were you? Like, Cole, how long did it take for you to realize who they were?
Right off the jump.
Oh, okay, you got it right away.
Because it said Rafa on my subtitles. Like, I know who that is.
Okay.
That's where I get all my knowledge from, in case you guys haven't figured it out. I suggest you watch with the subtitles.
My younger son didn't realize it till they took their helmets off. He's like, "Oh, that's the." And we're like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
He didn't recognize the voice.
Did you guys get the vibe from Sid that like if it didn't work out, he was going to turn him in? Like
the end of episode 5.
Yeah.
It was sort of like implied by, oh, you will do jobs for me.
He's kind of like
keep me quiet.
Mob protection, right? Like you're gonna give us 20% a week for protection. Well, protection from who? Well, from us. We're not gonna come in and burn your store down.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? You know what I mean? That's kind of what I got from him on that vibe. Her?
Sid? Right?
I think Sid is a her. Well, based on the voice, I'm just going.
Well, I mean, it could be anything, but the voice is Carla from Cheers. So
right.
I'm just going,
Whatever gender she may apply to herself, I'm backing myself into a hole here.
She's lizard neutral.
she says I can keep secrets, which is totally like a wink wink, like yes. I will not keep them if you're not going to work for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When they go there and then Rafa steals it, she essentially runs into it's actually Trace who steals it. Rafa runs into Omega, and they have this little battle that basically calls attention to them, and they shut the whole thing down. Those police droids come in, and those things just keep coming. How many fucking police droids are there?
I don't know, for an empire that wants to like dismantle and get rid of all the clones or all the droids, oh, now we got a new line of fucking droid cops coming in.
Exactly.
Scrap them down and make police droids.
Yeah,
Apparently, is what they're doing.
They're apparently not programmed to recognize that they're next.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, as soon as we get all these guys thrown in the incinerator, we're gonna line up and
They
put
got nice
ourselves in.
paint jobs come out. They're like they're not as dumb and bumbling as the fucking droids from the Clone Wars. So at least that's nice.
Yeah, that's true. They look more slick, but they are pretty easy
Yeah.
to defeat as they just are
Right.
wiping them out in droves.
They don't have jokes. I guess that's what I'm getting at. They don't have jokes. They don't have one-liners.
Right. Yeah, we did get a little taste of that when they re-enable the other droids again. Did we win? But
Yeah.
that was, yeah.
I fucking laughed at that though. I thought that was kind of funny. He pops to life. It's the first thing he
Yeah.
looks over.
A job's a job, and it goes off and starts shooting the other droids, droid on droid action.
Yep.
Did you guys get the groaner from? Oh my God, is there an Echo in here?
Oh, God.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Echo's like, yeah, right here. I'm right
We need a distraction. What we need is a distraction. Is there an Echo in here? I'm Echo.
Right here.
so stupid.
That was a joke waiting to happen. You know, someone's in the writers' room for weeks trying to get that
Pushing
one
for
in.
that?
Echo
Yeah.
joke.
Come on.
There's got to be.
Is it time? Fine, Jerry. We'll do it this week.
Yeah,
We'll do the
yeah,
Echo
Jerry
joke.
finally just shut Jerry up.
And in the meantime, Wreckers knocks his head a good one, and he's turning himself into a good soldier, like pumping
Yeah.
himself up.
Yeah.
So it's starting to come to the forefront. Like I just wonder, like what, a knock to the head? Like what does it
I
do
want
to
to.
the
When we get
inhibitor
to
chip?
speculation, I want to live on this for a minute.
Go ahead. We're right there.
Like when let's wrap the episode and let's go into speculation about all of it. Like where we're gonna go the rest of the season.
Okay.
So they snatch up the droid's head and then they reprogram it to.
It's kind of like hot potato over
Yeah.
the decommissioning
they're
lava
fighting,
pit.
They're fighting over who gets it. Like and then they kind of activate the droid's head and get the clankers to turn on the security droids. So that's kind of how the episode.
And on the
wraps
sly,
up.
Tick puts that thing on its head, and you're thinking that's meant to help, control.
'cause he
but
says
it's
it is.
actually
It's like
he's
it's a
actually
booster.
downloading all the data.
Yeah, yep. Because if they don't end up with the head, he still has it. That was good.
Yeah, that was clever.
And then Omega comes in her own with the bow. She starts getting it, like just letting it ride.
And
Yep.
she even says something about the practice or pulling it back or something. She shouts out that she's getting the
Yeah,
hang
it was.
of it.
It was what Sid told her. Like it was something about blocking out distractions or something. Like being all
Yeah.
focused
Yeah.
makes
Yep.
it easier, to do that. So then, but then who comes in on the ship to save the droid that's running the Martez sisters ship is R7.
R7.
Which that might be a reference. I couldn't tell if it was for exactly that one, but that was Ahsoka's droid
Yes.
before.
I believe that's what droid it is.
Who I thought got destroyed at one point in Clone Wars, if I'm not mistaken. But they
Yeah,
can always
they're
repair droids.
It was a droid that it died in the
droid army thing.
Yeah, the ending of the Mandalore War when the ship was crashing and all that shit. I think yeah, you're right. The clone shoots it, right?
Well, they were all carrying the body of somebody. Who were they carrying? They all seven of there was like 6 droids. There was like 6 or 7 of them, and they were carrying them, and then they all got killed
Yeah,
from the stormtroopers, or the clones.
right.
Right. Yep.
So it was put back together.
So, what do you guys think of like Hunter hands over the data rod to Trace and Rafa, and he's like, "Well, you guys are going to use this for the right reasons."
Yeah.
And then they go back on their ship and take off with R7, and then the hologram comes in,
Mm-hmm.
and they left this super, super ambiguous.
Yes.
They didn't say. You could take it as what they're saying was nefarious, or they could take it as, well, we know where these guys are in case we want to use them to help with the struggle, or they're like, we could turn these cats in and that type of a.
Right.
Did you guys get the ambiguity
Yeah, like
there?
what
or
side
no?
are they on, right?
Right.
Or
who's the
whose
guy
side?
on the hologram?
Right.
Who do you guys think?
Well, so I
You guys
think
probably know, and I don't.
well, no, the place that my mind went first was Bail Organa. That's who I
Yes.
thought. I was just thinking this makes the most sense as far as what she had said about they're trying to help people who are fighting against the Empire.
Yep.
That's totally him. It's sort of, I mean, trust me, I freeze framed it and I'm like, does that look like something he wore? But everybody's speculating, there's a ton of different options that it could be. Some people said Mace Windu, which I was like, oh, I don't know if this is how they're going to bring Mace Windu back. Some people said Maul. Some people said Rex. So there's all sorts of options being thrown out. I even saw somebody mention in an article or something, maybe it's Cassian. And I'm like, Cassian? Cassian be like 5 years old.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I mean, Bail Organa makes sense, but I think he's too busy to talk to 2 people that are just flying around on a ship. So I'm gonna go with like this is Star Wars. This is like new. It ain't gonna be a man. I'm telling you that right now. It's not gonna be Ahsoka because they've already pulled this punch on Clone Wars, where like it was at the end of the season, she ends up being Fackmeyer or Fulcrum. That's what I said.
Fackmeyer.
Yeah. I had to spit out a wrong word to get the right one. So I don't think it's going to be Ahsoka, and I think they're going to leave that alone for a little bit. I'm going to go with Mon Mothma. It's either going to be Mon Mothma or it's going to be someone like they're being swindled. They think they're working for someone, and like I don't know if it's going to be Maul yet. I know they're going to build up to that. Mm-hmm. I just don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know, but
yeah, Maul certainly has no love for the Empire, so that sort of could make sense there. I could see them getting swindled. That's something that could happen. They think they're helping the right cause, but maybe they're not.
Right.
They do specifically say him.
Yes, they do. Yes, you're right. You're right. So Mon Mothma's out. You're right.
So I wouldn't think, unless they're just like kind of has a kind of a butch haircut. So maybe that's it's Man Mothma. But I think they. I'm going to stick with the obvious choice and say it's Bail Organa, but I could easily see it being a wrinkle there.
I mean, it's not going to be a Jedi.
No.
So it's going to be, but okay. So here, are we wrapping this up?
Yeah.
We're going to speculation.
Get into it.
What is the point of Wrecker when he does lose his shit? If it's for Order 66 and there are no Jedis, right? So what is the point of him? Is he just going to like realize like they let Caleb get away or Hunter did, and he's going to have the same issue that Crosshairs did? Is he gonna lose his shit the same time? Maybe we find out the little one is Force sensitive, so then they've got to handle him. And at the same time, it's going to be like they're going to be battling two fronts, because then they're going to have Wrecker that's right there with them. I'm sure they're going to introduce Crosshairs and his fucking Death Squad team at some point again, right? And another thing is there's no word yet on a second season of this.
Right, that's true.
I don't know if this is a one and done, if this is an anthology story, if this is we'll leave it open, but also it's a self-contained if it stays that way. It's going to really amp up in the next few episodes, because I think we're close to halfway through the season then, right?
Yeah, our next episode will have hit the halfway point, because it's
We've heard
16
14 episodes. Oh, 16, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I still think they're probably angling to do a second season. That would be my guess. But yeah, if it's just this one season, then they need to like kick some shit into gear, because they're kind of going along at a somewhat slow pace, building up this stuff, gradually. But if this thing's going to wrap by episode 16, then they need to kick it into high gear, which they certainly can do, and they have done that before in other shows. But I think we're going to see a second season.
I like it enough to where I would like to see a second season.
I'm here for all content. Bring it all.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? We'll figure it out. It gives us stuff to talk about.
Sure.
And you don't necessarily know. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting dynamic on how Wrecker turns. So he's going to turn. It's like the foreshadowing is there. So it's going to be at a really inopportune moment. It's going to destroy the entire team or something. They're all going to get captured. He's going to betray him. He's got to hate Jedi. That's what Order 66 does, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kill all the Jedi. So Jay was wondering if it's going to be he picks up on the Force sensitivity of Omega and goes from there, or if he's finally like, well, you know what, they let what's his face
Caleb.
escape.
Like I said from the beginning when we watched it, like was that just a tease, or are we going to see Caleb again? And it makes sense for that to come back around some way or another if they're going to bookend the show from beginning to end, right? If it's a self-contained season, and like why haven't they gotten the chips removed yet?
Well, the Tech was working on something a few episodes ago. He was talking about doing something that was going to eliminate him or remove him or something, whatever it was. But it hasn't gotten around to it yet because they've been too busy. But yeah, you would think that they would want to remove that thing, because it seems like whatever that order is went out and it is still ingrained in your head. It's not like it was a one-time blast that said, hey, go kill all the Jedi and then never mind. Yeah. It seems to be something that would, continue to drive them. And also I think maybe it's also more than just kill all the Jedi. It's continue to follow the direction of the Empire. So it's not just go kill Jedi. It's you are supporting the Empire. They had
to kind of amp up Crosshairs to an 11 in order to get him on board with the Empire. I think Wrecker's just going to be more of a fucking wrecking ball. And if it happens in their ship, it's a little self-contained problem they're going to have, especially and that's why I think we're going to find out something about Omega sooner than later.
I would think so. I mean, every time they show her do anything like show that intuition or when she's about to die in that pit, that molting pit, you're thinking, is this it? Is she going to force jump out of there or something? You're just kind of waiting for something to show up, and they haven't given us anything yet. We will see, but I'm excited by the fact that they left us with a cliffhanger, gave us a little taste of something that's to come.
Yeah.
And so we're still trying to figure out who is paying Fennec Shan to go get Omega, and now who are the Martez sisters working for. Those are two things that are hanging out there that we have to figure out.
Was the ship they had the one that they stole in that season?
Oh, good point. From when they escaped from the Pikes or whatever.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I don't
They kind
know
of
if that
park
was
it in
the
their
same ship. It
garage
might
on
have
level
been.
1313. Because now, like, I'm trying to relate, like, if whoever they're talking to, like, they weren't a fan of the Jedis, but they kind of they are at least joining the rebellion in one way, or the early seeds of it, right? Could it be Saw? But Saw has nothing to do with Coruscant.
Could be Saw. That's another
Right,
option.
like what got them to the point where they're dealing with the Separatists now,
Yeah.
which would put them as who the hologram is. So yeah,
Yeah,
lot
Saw
of
is actually
story.
a good shout. It could be Saw.
mm-hmm.
I just feel like I don't know
Because he's out there and we haven't seen much of him. I mean, the last we thought we were going to see him was when they sent them back down to the planet, and then he shot his own troop and killed everyone there. So and Saw was already fucking off planet. He's like, peace.
Yeah.
So they keep alluding that he's going to be something to deal with in these early episodes. So it could be him.
Maybe Saw's off trying to find Bugali, or what is that thing's name? Remember that thing in Rogue One that wraps around Riz Ahmed's head and like tries to get information out of him?
Yeah.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah. Maybe he's has yet to find his asthma machine. I wonder what's gonna happen there.
There, yeah.
When's that happen?
His oxygen.
They just started showing him as a chain smoker from here on out. Folks, kids, don't smoke.
Emphysema is real.
Do you want to get into the mall bag?
Let's do it.
I'm a representative of the United States government, authorized by,
Order 66.
and I'm your postman.
Okay, so we got 4 emails this week. Thank you. Email number 1 is from Ty from the Wayfinder podcast. He says, if there's one thing in canon you'd love to learn more about, what would it be? Which is a nice, big, open question. I have some thoughts, but what do you guys think?
I think there's a lot of like Swiss cheese holes in Saw Gerrera's timeline of like what he is. I'd be interested to know more of his story. Like get a good thorough line. Like where's this dude? Because he's just always popping up in different places. So I'd like more on him.
Okay. Yeah, he even pops up in that video game, the Fallen Order video game.
Right, which was I saw a video of that where he just jumps on what's an AT-AT
An
or whatever,
yeah.
and he's like punching the fucking windshield and talking shit, and it's Forrest Whitaker.
It's Forrest Whitaker, yeah.
Yeah, he does the voice for it and everything. I was like, man, that's Saw's a good man. You can't kill him.
Yeah, well, and that Jedi in that video game is that Cal Kestis, and I still think he's going to show up at some point in some series or movie somewhere. They're still probably going to wait until after that next version of the game comes out to tell more of that story. But
are they making another one? I thought that I'd heard someone say recently that another one wasn't being developed right now.
Last I heard, and this was maybe a month ago or so, they said that they were working on a second one, and I think it was going to be released in 23.
Oh, okay, all right.
That was what I heard last.
For me, I would just say I've always been interested in the origins of the Hutt cartel, like how they came to power, right? Like, or because they seem to be like the mafia in the universe, right? The sleazy end of, they're not necessarily, they're just mercenaries, right? They do whatever it is in their own best interest. So I'd like to kind of see the Hutts. Is the Hutts a race? Is that like the race they are? They're the Hutts, but they're all called like Jabba the Hutt or Zero the Hutt.
Yeah, and they're on the
Or Slobber the Hutt.
Yeah, and
Slimer.
there was a planet that they all came from. Was it the last season, season 6 or 7? We saw where they went to that dark, dingy, fucking cloudy, fucking planet, and they were all, that's where all the Hutts were from originally. So yeah, they're and they just kind of, I guess, scatter out across the universe. And they run everything like the mafia, you know,
Right,
like
and there's the head of 5
heads
families,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
They delve into a little bit in the books that they're not canon, the Han Solo trilogy that I read, and he was working for the Hutts, and it talks about that. But I just kind of would like to see that backstory like shoring up.
Okay.
See what happens there.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the Kira thing, I still would like to see more on the Crimson Dawn thing. I think that's got a lot of room to explore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm real excited for the Acolyte. I want to see that dark side of the Force kind of birth story or whatever. And so I'm not to mention it's in a different era, which as much as I love these stories, it would be really nice to jump to a different era. Mm-hmm. And see those stories told. And that's what I'm really looking forward to.
What era was that? Was that set a couple hundred years before?
Acolyte, I think, is meant to be like toward the end of the High Republic, so somewhere in maybe near the book series that you guys were starting. I think that's right.
I don't recall if like that was like
It's like 200 years before, something like that.
okay. I was wondering if that was Palpatine's master.
I don't think it's Plagueis. I think it's prior to that.
Okay.
I think it goes deeper than that. So.
Pre-Plagueis.
Pre-Plagueis.
Prologue pre-Plagueis.
There we go.
Thank you, Ty, again. Email number 2 is from Luther, a.k.a. Cheeto Bandito. Cheeto here, letting you know that I wrote a review on iTunes. Thank you. I'd like to add, he wants his credit. I'd like to add that a Nerf herder isn't necessarily scruffy looking. I'm sure not all the herders go unkempt. However, Leia telling Han that not only was he a lowly, from her princess point of view, Nerf herder, a mere peasant that herds the smelly, disgusting beast, but he was also a scruffy one. Han had zero issue being a herder of Nerfs. He came from nothing, but damn it, he knew he looked good. Okay. He says, thanks for the great podcast. Matt, I really miss Reasons Are with Neil. Oh, so do I. Cole and Ginger, you know I listen to Seven Dag. Take care, fellas. Thank you very much, Luther, and we hope you win the Darksaber.
That's right. Another one's coming.
Email number 3 is from Louis Cabral, Clockwork Owl. He says, I find The Bad Batch entertaining enough, but I kind of wish Disney would create multiple Star Wars animations geared toward different audiences. He wants one that does porn. Adding Omega to the squad changes things to a more kid-friendly story and action, also introducing many of the usual tropes into each episode. Have The Bad Batch target an older audience while other animations target other age groups. I mean, it certainly has its flaws, you know, and Star Wars always kind of tries to include those lovable characters somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Like even Rogue One had like the sass of IG-11 and Solo had, you know, LG-37, right?
Yep.
So there's always kind of that. I mean, I think Omega's just a more tame version of that, but I don't know. There could be some evil lurking in Omega that we don't even know about yet. I don't know how you would have two different versions. The most kid-ish thing that I think they made to me, and this is only just in kind of dabbling in it, was Resistance felt more kid-like to me than like Rebels.
From what I've seen, I haven't watched an episode, but the trailers and just, very, very much geared toward like younger than 14.
That's what I thought. And I mean, they always say, it's funny because they always say like, you know, Star Wars is made for kids. And then you got a bunch of grown men and women like us sitting around, you know, speculating about it and getting mad that it's not darker or whatever. It's pretty dark. Like, I mean, if you think about the very first Star Wars, inside of like 20 minutes, we see scorched corpses laying on the ground. So,
Aunt Beru.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I can understand what he's saying, but at the same time, I think they're always going to mix that. They may go darker in some cases, but I think for the most part, you're always going to have a little bit of that childlike element.
Yeah, they kind of tend to everybody, right? Because they got to pull new people in all the time, right? That's what keeps, they spend the money on the toys, but they're also the ones that are going to grow up and keep, this legacy alive for 40 more years. So they kind of got to cater to everybody. But I think they've done a really good job, like with the Mandalorian and some of the stuff they're doing now, where it's going to be an older crowd first. Like you're not going to get like it's not going to get dark and you're going to see murders and shit happening.
I'd love to see. I'm with Louis here. Like I'd love to see a R-rated Star Wars movie directed by Quentin Tarantino. That would be fucking pretty badass.
Whoa!
Could you imagine that?
That would be a very like the dialogue alone. I don't even know if he could write in this.
Maybe an NR rated, so you could really go over the top. No kids can go to this.
All right, just takes place at a diner on Tatooine.
Yeah,
it's Tarantino. It's Tarantino. So his first question when writing the script would be like, "What? How do you say the N word in Star Wars?" Like, Jesus, dude, come on.
Yeah.
How many N words can I get in here?
Well, he'd be the one to bring Mace Windu back. That's for sure.
That's true.
True point.
He says, anyway, that's my 2 cents. On to some questions. Which of the following would you most likely be able to accomplish? And here are his options. Talk detention center or cell officers out of investigating prison break, bomb the Death Star without a targeting computer, swing over a shaft holding a princess, or herd nerfs. What do you got?
I want to go with like swing over a shaft holding a princess, but I just don't think my upper body strength is there.
That's fair. And as we talked about before, that belt was not secured to him. That thing would have flown right up. I don't like that.
Up into his armpits.
I mean, we've all
hiked his shirt up the middle of his back at least.
Yeah, at least.
We've all had a princess swing from our shaft at least once.
I knew somebody was going to make that joke.
And there's several times that we weren't strong enough to complete that task either.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I certainly could not put a couple photon torpedoes without a guidance computer into an exhaust port located directly under the main port. That's still one of my favorite Star Wars jokes.
Yeah.
Exhaust port.
I don't know. I was
main
pretty adept at hip firing from the old 007 GoldenEye. So
Yeah.
Oh,
I may be able
there
to
you go.
throw one. Just throw. That looks right.
I feel like if you just did like a a kamikaze, you just start firing and just
fire
crash
your
right into the port.
Put your X-wing down the
Yeah,
tube.
you know you success. Yeah.
Make sure you deploy the wings so you get the mass. They tilted the wings at the World Trade Center, so they got the most amount of floors.
Yes.
Make sure you deploy the X-wings.
And then
out.
when they resurrect me, I can just, did we win?
How'd it go? It's like when a guy wakes up from a concussion. Did I score?
You probably hit the wrong exhaust tube and you hit the sewer tanks.
I feel like the sewer tanks are in the lower tube.
Yeah. Oh man, you don't even blow up. You're just sitting in a pile of shit.
One tube off. Did you see that? I think it was like a meme that I forwarded. It was when Biggs says to eject to Porkins, I think. He's like, I got a problem here.
Yeah.
He's like, eject. And they're like,
Oh, yeah,
eject?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Where? How?
That is the thing. Like they've never that line is only I think used that one time, but they've never shown like anybody ever eject. Like
No.
I think that was Lucas, like because he was big on the World War II footage and all this
Yeah.
shit, and he just threw it in there.
I feel like your
And he never
ejection
questioned
seat
himself.
probably would be like one of those. You get two handles that come out, and you get the like.
But
You get
you're
the
in
ejection
space,
seat.
you're
But they don't
dead.
have a
Well,
have
you
an
get a
oxygen
mass that comes down, too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
A lot happens before you actually get launched out.
You take
better do
your
it
orange
quick.
visor and you slide it all the way down underneath your triple chin with your Porkins, and it clips into your spacesuit, and then it becomes a self-contained.
I feel like
breathing apparatus.
Filoni's already like, we got an episode built around this. Don't worry, guys.
Well, and the other point they were making was like, so even if you are able to eject, what are you gonna do? Land on the Death Star? Things about to be
Right.
destroyed.
He's gonna run up and he's gonna pull the Luke. He's gonna use the thermal detonator and he's gonna run to the. I mean, Porkins ain't gonna run very far, but
No, he's not gonna make it.
He's gonna try to find
Dunk
one of those
it.
escalators that like fucking takes you through the airport.
The moving walkway.
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
He's just holding the
dun,
thermal
dun.
detonator. He's eating a pineapple in his other hand.
Porkins ain't eating a pineapple.
All right,
No.
maybe he's got those breadsticks.
He's got a full
He's
cake.
got one of those breadsticks.
He's got a full cake. Where did this come from?
He stopped at the, like what the mall. They got all the different restaurants right there. He like walks into a door into the Death Star, sees the escalator, the fly escalator rider, and he sees all the mall. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go get me a great crate steak sandwich.
No, he's got the
and
drippings.
then he fucking hops on there.
The drippings from a crate dragon that's been on the smoker all day.
That's
he's
right.
collected it in a
Yeah.
cup and he's drinking it.
It's just the grease.
You've seen them do the updated like GIF or whatever of him with like fast food.
Yes.
That's so bad. Thank you, Louis. Appreciate the email. One more, and that is from our buddy Mike Laybourne. Got a question for the pod. With Euro 2020 just over a week away, which Star Wars character would you bring as a ringer to get your team in whatever sport through the tournament?
What's Euro 2020?
Yeah, I have no idea what he's
Euro
talking
2020 is a soccer tournament that happens obviously it's Europe, so it's all the countries play against each other.
What does that do with Star Wars though?
Nothing.
He's just, as a fun
he's-
fact, what athlete would you like to have as a Jedi or whoever?
Oh,
He's just saying because of that jogged his memory to say if you had what sport would you use? And the thing is, I think you got to say no go on the Jedis entirely because like could you imagine trying to score like in hockey on a Jedi goalie? Nope. Nope. Or them playing
Yeah.
baseball or something. I mean, they would just crush. So there's no way you can use Jedi skills.
okay.
Oh, I was gonna. Well, mine was a Jedi, so that.
I
takes
mean,
me
that's
in.
the obvious one, don't you think? Because otherwise they could do anything.
So which character would you bring as a ringer? Grievous.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Got a lot of
You
hands.
get nothing by. He's my goalie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Who do you got? Anybody, man? I'm trying to think over here. I don't
Well,
know.
I was thinking, I have a couple thoughts. One is it's not really a tournament style team sport, but I think Quinlan Voss would be fantastic in gymnastics. Even if you take away the Jedi skills. I mean, look at that guy. He was
Yeah.
ripped.
Who's Quinlan Voss?
The tracker that Obi-Wan runs into.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's her name? The fucking fuck her name.
Ventress?
Yeah, Ventress. She'd be a good gymnast too.
Oh yeah.
She would. Yeah. Floor routine alone would just be fantastic.
Yep. Yeah. Give her a couple of ribbons and watch her go.
She's like Will Ferrell with the
ribbons,
toms. She's waving them in Palpatine's face. He's waving them.
I think Wrecker would be awesome in rugby.
Oh yeah, good one.
I think he would be dominant. And the other one I thought of was fucking Chewbacca playing center for me on the basketball team.
You stole mine. I was
There
just
you
gonna
go.
say, yeah.
Put him in some shorts.
Center versus or
Well, I'm talking like 1970s Larry Bird shorts.
Chewbacca
Oh, yeah.
versus.
Yeah.
Chewbacca
He'd look like
versus
Teen
Shaq.
Wolf. He'd look like
Yes,
Michael
he
J.
would.
Fox.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, that's mine too. I was gonna say Chewbacca playing down in the post. Maybe he's got a good three. Maybe he's
throw
like
him in
Dirk
Olympic
Nowitzki.
wrestling.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's strong. He
He'd
ripped,
whoop some ass in Solo. He'd drop that dude right on his grape.
Yeah, he did.
ripped the ears off of Gundar.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the other thing I could think of was if it was more like a World Series of Poker type tournament. I mean, that's kind of like
Lando.
Sabak. So
Yeah.
maybe sneaky Lando or Han. I don't know.
Who would you get if it was? Now we got to think of the Winter Olympics. All right, so curling. Who's gonna be a good curler?
The kid that sweeps around with the broom at the end of
Broom Boy.
episode 8.
Farm boy. Yeah, Broom Boy. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know. I was thinking about if anybody did anything worthy on Hoth.
Is there a tauntaun that you could use for, what is that stupid one where you're riding on horses and you're hitting in?
Polo.
Polo. That's the one.
Oh,
I
you
don't
know
think they
what?
play it in the
I
winter,
got it. I got it. Crosshair biathlon.
Oh,
I bet you that motherfucker can ski, and we know he can shoot.
Oh yeah, he's built like a skier.
Yeah. So I think that would work. All right, I think that's all we got for Maulbag. But thank you
Mike,
everybody
thank
who wrote
you for
in.
the
Really appreciate it.
ridiculous question
Ooh.
that took way too much time.
What
to
about
answer.
a group of
we're still on it.
a group of battle droids in a synchronized swimming competition?
Okay.
You think
I like
they could
that.
keep afloat?
Well, if they have a hive mind, I think they should at least be able to do the.
Well, they're metal. I was going to say, can they swim?
Okay,
You
yeah.
think they can.
No.
Okay.
They can. They just rust real easily.
Yeah.
There we go.
Really quick.
Yeah.
You know, dip them in one of those oil baths that C-3PO is so fond of.
There we go.
And then put them right in the pool.
There you go.
Then they can go to the spa.
Oh, the happy ending spot, right?
Yeah. Right. That's it. Right. We nailed it.
Anyone else got anything before you?
No, I just want to thank all of the listeners, and until next time,
Never tell us the odds.
In our experience, there's no such thing as luck.
we have spoken.